What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Actually, it's been a long time since I've really recorded a car video other than when we moved into the house and just explain all that and show the garage. This is our first video working on a car. Now, I thought it would have been on the car behind me, which is my 2018 STI. If you've never seen this car before, check out my previous videos. We've done a decent amount of stuff to it. That's pretty cool, I would think. But it is not the case. We're not working on the STI today. We are actually working on my Legacy GT. Oddly enough, we are fixing something that I fixed, I want to say 2 months ago. And I'm really not looking forward to this because I've already done it, like I said. But I'm actually pulling out the steering rack and replacing it with a refurbished 2018 STI steering rack. So originally I was just gonna get another Legacy rack. That was the plan. I was just gonna get like one out of a parts car or whatever, or even just a rebuilt one. And then I was like, if I'm going through the trouble of this, let's just upgrade it. So I ended up getting a refurbished one. I would have loved to get a brand new one. Obviously, if you can afford to get a brand new one, because it's just, if you're putting it in, might as well. But since it's refurbished, it should be pretty much new because all the seals have been replaced. So I'm praying, I'm really praying this one does not fail on me. I'm hoping. I'm also going to be throwing in a 2008 to 2014 STI steering rack U-joint. So the only real difference with this and the one that's on the Legacy is the Legacy has a dampener here, and the WRX is the same thing. STI, it is actually solid. There's no dampener. Now, I don't know if it's really something you're going to notice. I just figured it'd be kind of more responsive, which is kind of what I want. The only modification that I'm aware of you have to make is we're actually gonna have to shorten the tie rods right here. We're gonna have to cut off a couple threads. So that will be fun. I'm thinking we go ahead, pull the old girl out, and bring the Legacy in. I don't know what to do. Hopefully this doesn't look stupid. It probably looks stupid. Like, what do I do? Should I pretend I'm like bench pressing it? If this was longer, I'd do like the whole rose thing. That's gross. Alright, let's get this car moved in. Fluid's low. Lovely. She's a mess. Haven't driven her in a while. Also, if you notice, I'm missing my fog lights. I ended up getting rid of them, and I'm replacing them with a newer pair. They're not new, but they're newer. A little cleaner. I am going to be tinting these yellow. I'll probably do in this video. I don't know. We'll see. So right here, this boot, or I forget what you call it. It's not a boot. Bellow. It's all messed up. I don't know what happened to it. But it is pissing out fluid and it's coming out, and I refuse to try to rebuild it and put it back in with winter around the corner. I'm gonna start pulling it out. If you saw my last video, you would know what to do. If you don't know what to do, it's pretty straightforward. This little support tray, whatever you wanna call it, has to come out. It's a bunch of 16 mils. There's 2, 3 there, 2 more in the middle, 2, and then 3 on the other side. We're gonna have to break free our tow arm right there. I believe that's a 17 or a 19 mil. Not too bad. We may have to drop the passenger side front axle, which is right there, just to be able to access the power steering lines, which are right there. You can see how close they are. Yeah, that's not fun. I'm gonna try to not pull it out, but I may have to. We will see. All right, I'm just gonna get to it. This is gonna suck. It sucked the first time, I'm gonna suck the second time. That was as brutal as I expected it to be. The worst part about pulling a Subaru steering rack out has to be the two lines right there. They're so difficult to get to, and I was stubborn and didn't want to pull at the axle, even though I'm gonna have to change a band on one of the axles. In my last video, I didn't tighten it correctly. I'm sure I'm gonna get reamed out for it, but I'll fix it now, I promise. Can someone explain this to me? Why did this fail? Like, it boggles my mind. I don't understand what happened. So when I rebuilt this rack, everything was good except for right here. So I pulled out the entire pinion assembly, rebuilt it, and from what I can tell, it did not leak. Yeah, it did not leak. It held. So my repair held, which is cool. I'm hyped about that. Why did this happen? I don't understand. Did I do something wrong? Did I bleed it wrong? Like, I do not understand. Didn't even know this could happen. So it's really frustrating because I rebuilt this, or at least the one section of it, and it just like destroyed itself. Let me know, because I would like to know so I don't do it again. I was looking at the new steering rack though, and I noticed something. So what I don't understand is I don't have the two lines that come out of there. Oh, maybe they just plugged these lines right here, and I'm likely gonna have to use my old ones. Yeah, I think that's what's gonna have to happen, because everything else should fit from my understanding. It looks like they centered this, and I could have mucked it up, but I'll double check and make sure it is centered. Oh, I do still have to pull the U-joint, but that's not too big of a deal. I have to figure out what orientation to put that, but I'll show you guys what I figure out. But I'm thinking I go ahead, throw those two lines on, call it a night. It's the next day, I'm back, and I have the rack right here. Now, you're probably thinking, oh great, the lines are switched over, we can throw it in. Wrong, that is not the case. It is close. As you can see, the lines are here. I gave them a quick cleaning, didn't really go crazy on it because the car is gonna be getting oil sprayed, and it does not make sense to clean it all up just because it's gonna get oily again. But it's decent, it's not bad. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut off about 3 or 4 threads off of the ends of the tie rod. And the reason for that is this steering rack has a wider wheelbase than that steering rack, because this is from a Legacy GT. I believe it's the same as the older generation STIs. That is from a newer generation STI like I have on the channel. It's a wider wheelbase, so there's more threads. And also, I want to swap in the solid U-joint. This is not something you need to do. I think I mentioned it in the beginning. I decided to do it just because I'm pulling the rack out, and this should give you a better handling or feel when you're driving. The other one that is currently in the Legacy has a dampener. I thought I almost dropped it. You don't need to do this, like I said. It's just I was in there, so I figured why not, and I like to feel like the response of the car. It is a daily, but that being said, my 2018 STI has the same setup, and it feels really good. And just to make sure our steering wheel is straight, I have the seat belt there. You can see it, and all that's gonna do is just ensure it's straight, because I gotta pull off that U-joint, which I believe is just a 12 mil. And then of course, I'm gonna have to swap over my tie rods. I went ahead, pull these off so you guys don't have to watch through that. It's pretty straightforward, and it would be nice to be able to upgrade them. These are looking a pretty scummy, but the car for me right now is a winter beater slash daily. It's not a track car. I would love to upgrade everything to white line bushings and stuff, and I really debated on doing the bushings on the steering rack, so that will hopefully be a future project. Plus, this is out of a 2018 STI, I believe, and the bushings should still be very good condition, which they look like they are, so I'm really not worried about it. If I was doing it on the older rack, you know, if I was putting that back in, maybe I would upgrade them, but right now, I'm really not too worried. Let's go ahead, pull out the U-joint, cut off 3 to 4 threads on the tie rods, and get her back together. Because I want to drive this thing. Since I've moved, I've driven my girl's Civic more than my own cars. It's been a sad life. There we go. I got some good news. I was a little bit worried. I was looking online, and originally when I was looking into doing the whole U-joint swap, it seemed like I had to get specifically an 08 to a 2014 STI U-joint, and then 15 plus was different. Now that being said, I don't know, because I read another form where you can use a 15 plus on a Legacy and the Spec B and all that. So I don't quite know, but I will tell you this is from an '08 to a '14 STI. I can guarantee it's from it. And it is the same length, same build, same everything, other than, you know, having the dampener. There's no dampener in it. It's gonna go in like this with the pink sticking up. The bottom part will go on there, like so. Imagine it, use your imagination. I will say it's amazing what oil spraying does to your car, because this is, I think, off of a 2012 or 2013 STI, and this is off of a 2006 Legacy. There is next to no rust compared to the STI, as you can see. That just shows you, oil spray your car. Give it a little bit of persuasion. I recommend tightening these bolts on the U-joint by hand. It is possible to strip them. All right, good to hook up to the steering rack. Sweet, baby. Look at it all flopping around. That's a good way to warm up the hands in the cold. A little spicy. We are actually ready to throw it in. I'm hoping to have it bolted up tonight. That is the plan. I don't think I have enough ATF fluid to actually bleed the entire system, but if I could at least get everything bolted up, maybe do somewhat of an alignment, I'll be pretty happy. I just checked to make sure the rack was actually center, and luckily they actually center the rack for you, so you already know it's good to go. I just did a double check just to ensure, because last time when I did this, I actually centered it incorrectly, so I wanted to double check. If you don't know how to center a rack, basically take a pair of vice grips. You're going to want to lightly clamp onto this, just enough to be snug, but not enough to actually damage the threads. And you're going to go all the way one way. I use this green line right here as reference, and it ended up being on that silver mark, and then went all the way the other way, and then it ended up being, the center line was actually indeed center with what they marked. That was a really poor example of how to do it, but there's a ton of YouTube videos out there, guys. I'm not the best rack centering guy out there, I guess, but if you need a how-to, just check YouTube. There's tons, trust me. I also took this, I don't know what you want to call this, rubber grommet, I don't know. I threw some grease on it, just some stuff I had laying around. If there is any sort of rubbing or just noise, that would kind of help just keep everything lubricated and hopefully not make noise. Like I said, unfortunately we're reusing a bunch of old parts. It'd be nice to upgrade everything to like white line and Cusco and all that. But right now, like I said, this is the daily, so let's get it thrown in. Basically, it's the opposite of how you take it out. That's it. So I'm just gonna start going at it. Let you guys see how it is when it's done. The rack is in, boys. Just got a brand new rack. Just looking good. Everything's looking good here. U-joint is looking fresh. All the lines are in. She's pretty much good to go. I won't really know how the toe is going to be until I put the wheels on and low on the ground. I guess what we can do quickly is bleed the system. Now you could get OEM Subaru ATF fluid. I'm just gonna use this mobile one. It's cheap, it's on the shelf, I can get it quick. And it has Dexron 3. So, plus it's red. Everyone's saying Dexron in red. So that's what I got. It's what I'm gonna use. So to bleed the system, fill it up, don't turn on the car. You just wanna go back and forth, all the way left, all the way right. And repeat, and repeat, and repeat until there's no more air bubbles. And then when you turn on the car, I would continue doing it just to ensure it. But I'm just gonna do it dry. I'm not gonna bother turning on the car. I'm back, it's the next morning. I actually ended up turning on the car after bleeding the system for a while just to kind of see if it was going to leak. That was really my main concern, and I continued trying to bleed it. Perfect. There's no leaking. I checked under this morning. I don't see a single drop. Before I put everything back together, I will give it another look just to confirm, but I think we're good. After cutting the tie rods a little bit more, it looks like I'm starting to get that toe in, which is not obviously what I want, but I wanted a little bit more wiggle room for adjustment. Obviously, after a while, we'll see if it leaks again. I really hope it doesn't, and it shouldn't. Oh, forgot. After having the car running and feeling, the steering is actually like really stiff and it feels really good. And it feels a lot like the STI, believe it or not. It's crazy how that works. You put STI parts in it, it feels like an STI. Yeah, so I'm kind of at a standstill right now. I'm waiting for my CV boot clamps to come in from Amazon. They should be here today, but when, I don't know. So while I wait, I figured I would go ahead and clean up my fog lights. These are new ones I got. They're not brand new, but they are in better shape than my old ones. And I'll throw some yellow tint on them. It's the same tint I used on my STI. It's Vivid. It seems to be pretty good. It's been on there for a couple years and still holding up. Let's get these fog lights done. I need yellow fogs. That's like my staple. It's my image. It's just what I do. It is what it is. I just like the look. I'm back. It is the next day. I ended up doing a string alignment on the car. Looking at it, it looks okay. I guess we could say that. So I've just been trying to move the STI just so I can pull this car out. Already it's starting to get so cold that the compressors are freezing up and it's starting to lock me out, and it's only like -3. So I really want to get this car going and I really want to get the STI put away. So let's see how fun it's going to be to pull this thing out. I just want to go for a quick drive just to see how she's looking. Let's see how she does. It's way off. I gotta redo it. It's way off. All right, let me redo it. Not doing it tonight though. It's too friggin' cold. Whoa. But other than that, the car does feel better. I mean, the steering feels tight. It feels pretty good. It doesn't feel like sloppy. Everything kind of feels like refined. Let's just put her back in the garage. So other than the alignment, which has nothing to do with this video, the whole point of this video was to replace the rack, replace the U-joint, and get it running. Now, obviously, my alignment is not good right now, but I will fix it off camera. I'm not going to bore you guys to death. It's something I've done before. I do all my alignments. I did on the STI with all the camber and toe and all that. I did it all by myself, which I do want to redo it, but that's probably a summer job. It's getting too cold now. But that'll be it for the video, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Take it easy, guys.